Welcome back to Can It Be a Mead? We're in episode 14. This whole series is a kind of fun game of playing and spinning these two wheels to decide what kind of mead we're gonna make. So I've already done, obviously, 13 other episodes. We're on episode 14. You can find the other 13 weird combos that have occurred on the channel. Let's go ahead and spin our wheels and see what happens. The first wheel has a lot of fruits and some various things on it. So here's our first ingredient. It is going to be, or it can be a lot of things, but it's going to be date. The wheel never surprises me, or never ceases to surprise me. Okay, we've got a date mead. Let's see what we end up doing for our spice wheel or other alternative flavor. We have a date mead paired with our second ingredient, which is going to be it's poetic how goofy these are becoming. Date and ginger. I'm sure you've never asked yourself or even heard of that combo going together, or maybe it is. Maybe someone's done a date and ginger mead. If you have, post below in the comments. I gotta come up with the game plan because this is a weird combo, and also dates are kind of funky. So let's see what we can do. All right, here we are. The mead is done. And it looks pretty good. This is a pretty unclear bottle, so it's hard to tell. But this is done. Let me walk you through the process. Let's start with the recipe card. The recipe card's on screen. You'll see that the beginning of this recipe card is basically making a traditional mead. All of the date and the ginger and other things come after after primary. It's in secondary. So that's the recipe card. I think it's pretty solid. You'll see a tasting here in a second about all that, but let's walk through how we made it. We started with a traditional mead. I chose some mango blossom honey because that's what I have, or had at the time at least, and Lalvin D47, not a yeast that I normally like to use, even though I know a lot of people use it. I pitched it because it's a clean fermenter, it does a good job. So we pitched that with our honey. Our starting gravity for this 1 gallon batch was about 1070. Now that can vary obviously depending on how much sugar you add. We had about 1070. We also went over 1 gallon because we wanted to ensure after adding the dates and the ginger and all of that we would end up with at least a gallon. So our total volume there, it says water up to 1.2 gallons-ish. That's to help us make sure we have a gallon of liquid at the end. We mixed all that up in a bucket, honey water yeast. We added our yeast nutrient all up front because I honestly was gonna be lazy and didn't wanna have to step feed this brew, and let it go. 1070 starting gravity. Fermentation was about 2 weeks. We made sure, because D47 is a pretty temperamental yeast when it comes to temperature range, we tried to make sure that we didn't go past the upper end of its range. So anyways, 2 weeks went by. I racked it into a new container. I noticed the yeast were settling at the bottom. The fermentation looked like it was done, so I took a gravity reading, 1.000 after the primary fermentation. We racked it into a new container. I did not stabilize it yet. I added my 16 ounces of pitted dates that I had found, and I basically just cut them up so that they would get more surface area on there. We put them all into the 1 gallon carboy that I had, and I racked my mead on top of that. I didn't stabilize yet, so dates are pretty high in sugar content. They're gonna start fermenting again, and that's exactly what happened. Is after I racked it into this new vessel with the dates, about 2 weeks went by, I made sure that they stayed submerged, but I did notice some re-fermentation. That means that there's a higher ABV here, or more sugar content consumed. I have no idea how much we added, but I'm gonna guesstimate about 1%. After 2 weeks on the dates, we went ahead and racked them off of those, and this is when we stabilized it with potassium sorbate and metabisulfite. Alternatively, you can pasteurize if you'd like to do that instead. With it stabilized or pasteurized, you can now add fermentable sugar, but we're about to get there in a moment. We were missing the other component, the ginger. The date is done, ginger's here, we've stabilized, and we went ahead and added some grated ginger, like a very small amount, maybe less than an ounce, in like a little cheeseclothy kind of bag, right into the carboy. for a very short amount of time. It was maybe 36 hours, 24 hours, 24 to 36 hours. I taste tested it a lot. Ginger moves really fast, and so I made sure that I taste tested it to ensure that I didn't go too far with my ginger usage. So 36 hours on the ginger, grated ginger. We went ahead and pulled that out, and then, because it stabilized, we went ahead and back sweetened with some more honey, about 12 ounces of honey. And from there, it was time to take another gravity reading, 1.018 after the final back sweetening. We've got our date flavor, we've got our ginger, we've got back sweetening. I let it set for a little bit longer in hopes to let it clear up, and it did pretty well-ish, I would say. The final ABV for this thing, I'm gonna say is about, I put 9.2% on here, but I think it's probably 10, in all truth, in all honesty. So that's where that stands. We're not that old on this brew, and I'm ready to show you the tasting. I've already done the tasting with a good friend of mine, so we're gonna hop there in a second. I did the tasting at Mead Stampede, which is our yearly mead competition hosted by myself, doing the most, and Faywood Mead, and we had a bunch of incredible judges there, and they helped me with some of these tastings. So it's time to taste and figure out if date and ginger can be a good mead combo. So let's go. Let's go. So this is episode 14. I've got Matt, who was the ultimate mead maker of 2023. I might just throw in there just a little bit. If you haven't seen that whole series, he went through the gauntlet of mead making and is truly the ultimate mead maker of 2023, which means he's an awesome mead maker, if you didn't pick that up. But he's here to taste a date and ginger mead for this Can It Be a Mead series. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks. It's a very flattering introduction.
Hey, I mean it though. You went through the gauntlet and you're awesome, dude.
Well, it was fun.
So this, I already told you the process, how this went down. I would love, at the end of this, for us just to decide, can this be a mead combo? And it doesn't have to be a perfect recipe. You know, there can be tweaking. So I'm all about tweaks. I'm all about whatever we need to do to make this better. Or just to say, this isn't it. So
sounds good.
Tell me what you get on the nose. I know what I get a big old whiff of.
There's a little funk I'm trying to identify.
Yeah, there's the high bright ginger, and then there's like the middle nose side of something.
It's not horrible, but it's not amazing either.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think you described it accurately. Like you can get some ginger, and then there's something I can't quite identify that's a little weird.
Hopefully not like a ginger bug or anything. Which, spoilers, if you use ginger, there can be some chance of fermentation because of the ginger bug elements. So.
Yeah, so I've had that in low ABV stuff where you add ginger in secondary, and but I often get a pellicle when there's a problem. Yeah. So this doesn't have a skin, so
no,
it's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Okay, well, let's taste it. Let's see what happens.
Let's taste it.
Cheers. I think the middle ground is that date. That nose is that whatever. I can't even describe a date taste for some reason.
Yeah, I agree.
This feels like to me like you're going like this, like you're kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
like you're on a road that's just.
So, yeah, I'm not sure I'm ready to render a verdict yet, but it's good components. I think I expect, with dates, there's so much sugar, so you kind of expect a little more sweetness. So I think we're experiencing date at a lower sugar level,
right.
And that's where we're kind of struggling to explain it. Because if you look at the nutrition information on those date packs, they're loaded with sugar.
Yeah.
And that's so much of the flavor profile.
Someone told me before that dates have more sugar than water or some sort of something like that, and so that's one of the only fruits that's true.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the ginger side. We'll kind of work top down. Where's the ginger laying in here? Do you feel like it's too strong? Do you feel like it's... Because that was where I got really concerned. I put those hot bag, with ginger in it and put it in the carboy, and then 16, 18 hours in, I tasted it, and I was like, wow, this is getting really strong.
So did you peel it?
I grated it. I just did.
But did you take the outer brown skin off? Yeah. So I think that gives a little I'm not a fan of that.
You think it's like an earthy or some sort of note?
I did a mead once where I did like half a pound of ginger per gallon in primary, and I got lazy and I left the outer thing on, and it leaves this really woody, tannic kind of not good thing. So I'm a big proponent of like, you got to peel it.
I got lazy because I was like, this thing has so many little knobs and nodules on it. I just was like, I'm just going to grate it. And so.
Yeah, I mean, the laziness is real. So like if they're too small, like I just break them off and set them to the side, like because it's a lot of work. Like the peeling is a pain.
Yeah.
But I think it's the way to go.
I've done a ginger juicing method where I would take and grate it. Or actually, no, I was taking and blending it, putting it through a hop spider with water, and essentially just using like a water base. And that's worked before. That's what I do for my mule. I thought about doing that here. I might have had more control, maybe, of the flavor. I don't know.
I think juicing it would be a good way to go. Like juicing ginger is a pain unless you have some sort of mechanical thing to do it. But I think that would get you it would get you the ginger character without all the stuff you're going to get from the skins.
Maybe that's the way. I think I probably have a clip of doing that, so that'll be around there. But okay, so we talked about ginger. How about the date component? Do you feel like you get that?
Yeah, I get the date. I mean, it's not super strong, but I mean it's pleasant and it's the raisiny, kind of rich flavor. So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Can this be a combo that people should aspire to recreate?
I think this absolutely could be a combo.
Okay.
I feel like the ginger piece needs a little work. The date piece is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I would say
How do you feel about it?
I think that it can be. I do think there's tweaking, but I'm racking my brain on what I would do to tweak, and maybe I'll put a card on here of what I would do, but it does need some help.
So, best luck I've had with ginger is take the skins off. Grate, slice, whatever, add in secondary, and just kind of be incremental, like start with maybe like an ounce per gallon or something and just go up until you get where you want.
Right.
And I've had really good luck with that approach. So that's my take on
that's
ginger.
helpful.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first. If you would like to make this, there's that recipe card with the tweaks I will have tried to add in here, maybe some methods on how to do better ginger stuff. If you make it, let me know, because of course I'm curious if anybody ever makes these. Maybe it's just an experience. But Matt, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We've been tasting a lot of mead here at Mead Stampede and having a great time. So he's been through the gauntlet, literally tasting stuff, and he's still decided he wanted to taste more. So
well, it's been a lot of great stuff. Yeah, community is putting out great stuff.
Yeah. So cheers. Thank you
Cheers.
guys.